related to the last lecture? If not, yeah, go ahead. Mitson?
Oh, hello?
Yeah, hello, we can hear you.
Yeah, I accidentally unmuted my mic. I think I had some issue with it. Sorry about that.
All right. So if there is no any question from the last week, so we can start today. So I need just one thumbs up to start. Thank you, Bison. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, here it is. Can you see the full screen with a PowerPoint? I need one thumbs up. Thanks you, Parnit. So Andrew, thanks you. Sometimes maybe my screen sharing will have some sudden technical issues. Maybe it is not anymore visible. So if the screen will not be visible during the session, just tell me, because we are recording a session and many of our colleagues that are not with us, they need to watch it back. So we have to try our best that while we're recording the lecture, all the discussion and the material that we are talking about it is visible. And the same issue concerning the microphone. Sometimes my microphone, like what happened with Myson now, that maybe the microphone would be muted suddenly while I'm talking, excited. So sometimes I didn't take care for this. So if this also happened, please tell me. Again, concerning this course, as I said before, even though because we have asynchronous online, but attending online session is very important. I believe that online session have live session with the instructor or your coach, whatever. So you can benefit more from it comparing than go ahead and watching it alone. And starting next week, we should have some assignment, maybe. Because assignment and project will have 70% from the total grading. So we will have only final exam and 30%, as I told you before. So this is why we have to take serious concerning the assignment and the project. We will discuss later about project, if it will be group work or individual. However, all assignments are individual, so I expect each one of you had try his best in the assignment. And when I have to evaluate any assignment, I will not evaluate it based on black and white, true, false. No, not like this. I can evaluate it in a way that I want to feel what you have already understood and see what you have already understood from the course. So do your best when you make an assignment, because it will be real case scenarios. go ahead and write what do you think that it should be written, in order that if there is some gaps when I'm correcting the assignment, so can I discuss it with you that you did this, you should do this, you did this, you should do this. Maybe the first two lectures from the first one and this is the second one, we have some let's say sometimes we can see that there are many theoretical managerial terminology that we are talking about. To be honest, the planning part that we have already discussed, it is the first phase in the SDLC cycle. This will not be our main concern. The main concern will be analysis and design. However, we should be very familiar about how planning can be done without going so much detail in the planning. So planning, it is not a project management course. It is more analysis and design. So we should know about the planning, how it can be done, not the whole aspects of planning, some aspects of the planning. However, the main concern of this course will be in the analysis and design. So today I will finish planning phase and give an introduction to the next analysis phase. That will be the analysis phase. We will have a real scenario cases that we have to deal with it. So today we will describe the steps involved in project initiation. Then we have list different elements of planning process, like how we can assess the project feasibility. Then we talk about, I said it is not a project management course, so just we give a very brief about breaking down tasks of a project. Then we talk about the final delivery for the project initiation and planning, which is baseline project plan and project scope. And we will give introduction about object-oriented paradigm. Object-oriented paradigm, it's talk about how we can make analysis and design using object-oriented in this course. So in the first week, if you have already watched the video, we finished this. So the planning part is two main steps. The planning part is two main steps. The first step, it's about identifying and selecting potential project. If you remember, we made the value chain analysis. It's one of the criteria of selection of the project, and we take a real case study for a leaser factory, which means you have a factory and then you are going this factory to see what's different. We propose different projects and then we make an evaluation or selection criteria and we select the e-commerce project at the end of the last lecture. So now we know what is the potential project that we are going to work with it, because based on what we have already discussed the last time, we will have let's say two sources of decision making to select project: the top down and the bottom up, which means that the top management and the bottom up, which means the bottom level decision making, like unit manager, customers, different users who will propose to us different projects. So now we finished. We know what is a potential project that we have to start with. The next will be that we will discuss today, which is part of this CDLC cycle, is how we make initiation and the planning of the project. Again, my planning is somehow it is an important phase. However, it is not the main focus of the course. The main focus will be here, but we should be familiar with what's taking place here. So when we talk about project initiation and planning, it is a brief step about before we start analysis. So planning is not part of analysis. Do somebody, before I continue, know what is expected in the analysis phase? Do you have any answer for this? Sahib, are you here? Can I ask you, Sahib, about this?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you all.
Okay, so analysis, I guess it would be, it would kind of be taking the planning to further depth and kind of seeing, I guess like, yeah, planning is just figuring out what are the possible options that you could take, and then analysis would be furthermore digging deep into the options and really seeing what would work or not, like analyzing what would be the best approach, I guess.
Don't forget that we are talking about information system. We are not making analysis and planning and design to any project management or to any project. We are talking especially about information system, and we are talking especially about how the software part from the information system. So based on what I mentioned now, so when I talk about analysis, you said it is a deeply planning. I don't agree with you on this, because the planning will give us how we can manage these resources and to study the feasibility of this project and what the resources we have it and how we can manage different resources we will have it. However, the analysis we have, let me talk with somebody else. Thank you, Sahib, and we will discuss now more about it. Andrea?
Hello.
Hello. I'm pronouncing your name in the correct way?
Yep, that's correct.
Go ahead. Maybe you listen to my question and my discussion with Sahib. I need your feedback based on this.
At the moment, I'm not entirely sure what the analysis is after planning,
okay.
But
when I said about analysis, talking about information system.
Mm-hmm.
Analysis, information system. I'm not talking about a project like in other domain. I'm talking just about information system project analysis. So do you have any vision or any idea what you expect in the analysis? Don't worry, I don't expect you to have an answer. So just we make this discussion to go ahead and open a discussion, because we have to benefit from discussion. So Andrea, let me tell you something. You know, maybe you have some programming course before, sure.
Yep.
And you have already make some development. So when you start development, you go ahead, I tell you that I need to have a website, for example, or I need to have a software and accounting system. What do you have to do before you start coding?
Plan how the program should run.
Okay, but in order that you implement your program and the planning, so do you need some input for this before you start coding, or there is no input needed?
Well,
Which means that if I tell you, make for me an accounting system.
Mm-hmm.
I have a firm, I have an organization, I need an accounting financial management system. So you start coding, or you have to ask me more question and more detail about what they mean by financial accounting, what is the different procedures that I have it, what's the different standard I have it, what I expect from the software.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would need all those details. You need to see what sort of
this details, when your customer tell you what expect from your software, what we name this?
Guess that could be analysis.
Yeah, this is analysis. This is, but I need another name. It is about project requirement in this case.
Right.
So yeah, so when you sit with your customer and make a discussion and ask him so much specification about what he expects from the software, what he needs in order to computerize maybe the manual process that he has. So this is a business requirement.
Mm-hmm.
Based on this business requirement, you can know what is the database, what is the structure of database, because you should know from him what data you are going to store it, what report he needed. So based on this discussion, you collect a requirement, then you will make a business modeling. So when we talk about analysis, we are talking about two main points: requirement analysis and business modeling. We will discuss it later when talk analysis. Here in planning, it's more administrative work. It is not it's not about technical implementation. It's more about how much this project is feasible, yes, no, based on the selection process that we have already done, and how we can manage our time for different resources we have it. So planning, it's more about as the administrative part of the project. The analysis, we will talk about the requirement and the business modeling. It's clear, Andrew and Sahib and others?
That makes more sense now.
Yeah, it's clear to me.
So when we talk about initiation and planning project, so we have how much effort should be expended on this project? Who's responsible for performing? So we said that we should have a developer team or a developer outsource company. It's expected to do this. I have to follow to get customer feedback. I have to follow with the developer team. I have to follow maybe to make this process mapping that we have it internally. So we are going to talk about different tasks. This is why I said it's more administrative part of the project. So it is a challenging, because if you don't make a good planning, especially the feasibility study, how you can know your cost and your benefit, and you see this bad balance between cost and benefit. In this case, maybe you start a project, it is invisible, and you put a huge budget on this, and finally, when this is being already developed and done by the software development team or software development company, whatever, then you find, okay, I pay for an invisible project. So this is why it is challenging here. The planning and initiation of the project, the main core, it's about visibility study of this project. So it's very important that, again, it's not maybe we as a software developer, we have to do this. Maybe people that work with more project management has to do this, because it is not a software development process. For us, software development process starts from the analysis. So after the project manager has to do all this planning, or project management team has to do all this planning, and it says, okay, it is feasible. Let's have the project scope. This is a baseline project planning. Yeah, you as a developer team come and start this project. Now we go to the analysis and we talk about the requirement and modelize the requirement. We will talk about how we modelize the requirement later. So as I said in the previous step, we have already selected based on different criteria, and now we have this two-step, initiating the project and planning the project. So initiating the project, organize a team, and we have to start with different teams that we have to work in this project, and then planning the project, which is the clear activities we needed to do it, plus visibility, in this case, visibility study, which is part of the activity. So let's start with project. Again, in the planning part, I will not go detail in different aspects. I will give an overlook of the different aspects that we have it. Because today I have to finish this planning, and next time I will start with analysis. What is different element we have in project initiation? We will have how we establish the project initiation team. Who's the team? This is one of the elements. Relationship with the customer is very important, because we should have a formal way and a standard way how we can this relationship with the customer. Because we have to build a relationship with a customer, and lately we have with this customer to, let's see that to be always updated in different parts that will take place during the development lately. What is the management procedures? Who will take care for the timetable? Who will make the project breakdown structure? Who will follow up with different units will be involved in this project? So this is be done in the project. We have this procedure and the standard. You know what I mean by procedure and the standard. This is a standard of the flow. When I said, yeah, maybe it is a correct way. The standard of the flow, which means that this is workflow based on which standards have to work. We name it as procedures. And finally, this is the main point, that it is about project charter. This should be include all of this in this case. So establishing a relationship with the customers is an important step, as I said, because suppose we are designing an online designing a web store and online customer tracking system. So we are doing two different things: a web store and an online customer tracking system. Like Pineville Furniture, it is a furniture company. So based on this, all the team that involved in this initiation should at least one customer representative, which means that I can't go with this start my planning and initiating this project without having any one of my employees that is in direct contact with the customer. It should be, because at the end, this will be used by the customer in this case. So a project chart, which will be, it's very, let's say it is a report that will be, it's one of the delivery from the project initiation. It will be more about, here we can see here, it's talk about what is the project overview in general, what is the objective of this project, what is the key assumption, and this is the stakeholder responsibility. It is not part of the planning, it is give. Because as I've already said, here in the initiation of the project, we are now collecting the team who will work in this project and what is the responsibility based on this. And we said should be at least somebody from the project team that he's in direct contact with the customer that will use this project lately. So this is about project about customer tracking system for this furniture company. If you can see, it gives us a general overview about this project and its objective. So this is the output for the project initiation, which project charter. This is an output or delivery from the project. It's talk about general description of a project and the stakeholder responsibility. You know what is stakeholder, so which means that different employees or different staff that we have it and what is the responsibility. So this will be before we start the planning. Now we have to start with the planning one. So the main part of the planning that we have to talk about project visibility. Because very important to say, this project is visible, yes, no, okay. We select a project, we select the team for this project, and then we have now an overview about the project description and objectives. So now, is it feasible to go with it before we pay for the development team and start developing it, analysis and design, or not? In general, when we talk about project planning, we will have different elements in this. So the project scope, alternative, visibility that we are talking about, the different manageable tasks, because in the project initiation, we have already talked, or we have already known, we have already selected the teams that work in this project. So now this different team, what different tasks they will have it, and each one what tasks he is going to use is it, or which tasks that he has to execute. And then we will have different administrative and managerial documentation like schedule, communication plan, standard procedure. This is a detailed standard procedure. But again, when I talk about standard procedure, it's more not about software development. It's more about which is a different, because it is a very important point before we develop and start making develop analysis and design. You should know, you should have a standard for the flow of work. I don't know if you know, if you are familiar with the word process mapping, which means that what is different process is now in this company, and this process we should have a documentation about how it should be. So, for example, I have an accountant. This accountant each day he has to go to see that to check that all invoices being entered for the day before. If there is a gap with one of the invoices, it has to tell this. And then so there is a special standard of workflow, because if there is no special standard, then you can't make a business modeling lately. So if each day they have to work in different ways, so how you can make a system for this? So here, this is in the project planning, somebody has to define the standard and the procedure. And you should know that sometimes if you are not working with a big company, work with a small company or small middle company, the consultant, the management consultant, he has to finish the procedure and the standard of the process taking place in the company before you start making analysis and design. So this has to be the administrative part from the planning. We will not discuss it, just we should know about this because it's out of our scope. Risks, identifying and risks, yeah, and because there should be a risk. The last time when we talk about selection of the project, I don't know if you have already checked the last lecture, we talk about one of the criteria for selecting a project is about what risks we have in this project, which means that there is maybe if it is a huge project and it has a huge budget, we have to see maybe sometimes if you work in a company, you have to see the political situation. If you are working in an unstable political situation, maybe there is a risk because this project, maybe you are giving a huge budget and maybe there are some political happening in this country and then you can stop the project. Sometimes you have to consider different points based on in the type of the business you are doing. For example, if you work with real estate, sometimes real estate, is this real estate here stable or not, or is this real estate business being changed always here, depend also. So here, risk analysis, also it is apart from the project planning. However, we will not discuss it today because it's out of the scope. I said it's more administrative managerial. Here, this is a final to deliver of this. We will see about how formally it will be. We discuss examples. So mainly today we have to talk about this is to go deeply about project visibility and project how we can, just an example, managerial tasks. And then what do you mean by baseline project planning, how it looks. Baseline project planning, it will include all this. It is the final output. So the project planning start at the end, you will have a deliver, which is a project planning, as we can see here. So you will deliver an outcome from initiation and plan. You will have three main delivery, which means the business case, the project planning, and the project scope statement. The project scope and project planning, it's somehow, let's see, it is project scope, it's for the customer. So you based on it will be a simple form of the baseline project planning, which is more oriented to the customer in this case. Baseline project plan, it will include all this that we discussed here. The visibility of the project, the different managerial tasks in the project, and the timetable and the task breakdown. So base cases, it's more about, let's say, this base cases, by the way, it's very important to us to start with the requirement analysis because it gives us different case study about sometimes economical, technical visibility of the project. And based on this, it's very important to us to start collecting the requirement based on different study, different description of the business cases we have. So when we talk now about visibility, because we said here, returning here, so visibility of the project should be discussed here in the planning, and the output or the outcome will be included in the baseline project plan. When we talk about visibility, we have economical, technical, operational, scheduling, legal, and political, as I said. Because sometimes you are dealing with a project and maybe we have different countries that have unstable political situation. This instability will affect your project and you increase your risk. So maybe if you have a long-term project in an unstable country, then in this case you will have high risk. So this should be considered when you are going to study the visibility of a project. Again, we are not here this course is not a project management course. So we're going to see this is a very general overview, but we as a programmer or a computer engineering or a software engineer, whatever it is, it will not be our main concern. main concern will start with the analysis part. I need somebody to help me in this. When we talk about economical feasibility, what we are going to study? If there is any volunteer, or I have to open discussion with some of you. Don't be shy. I don't expect you know this. Sometimes we make some brainstorming that to open a discussion and maybe to help the other person who I had a discussion with him to understand it more, and others that we were going to see this video, it will be easier to them to understand it more. So do we have any volunteer that I can tell me what he expects in this economical visibility, or I have to select a volunteer? I will select one. Shane. Are you here, Shane?
Hello.
Yeah,
Can you hear
hello.
me?
Yeah, sure. I hear you very well. Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Okay. You get my point. You got my answer or my question. Sorry.
Yeah, I would assume that the economic feasibility would revolve around the amount of income or profit that you'll be able to make through any changes in this project that you're planning on making, and as well as what funds that you currently have that you'd be able to put in towards this project.
Let me formulate it in a way. So you said income and profit, which means that's a benefit, we can say it, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a benefit. You are correct. We are going to study the benefit that we will expect from this project based on the income and the profit. You said rather than benefit, the budget or the fund you have.
Right.
So when you said about budget or fund, before we go to see the budget or fund, what we have to estimate?
The cost.
Cost, perfect. So yeah, Shane, you 100%. So we are going to see the benefit and the cost. And then we have to make this balance between benefit and cost to see if this is feasible, yes, no. So the last question, maybe before we continue, Shane, that when we talk about benefit, so or we talk about cost, can you have different category for this, or all will be in the same category? Let me ask you the question in a different way. Maybe it give you a hint more about how you think about it. All benefits and all costs, we can estimate the numeric value, or which means that the value of this benefit or cost. If there is, sometimes we can make an estimate of value in, for example, Canadian dollar, for example, or there are some benefit that we can't estimate this.
Right. So almost like a risk.
It's not about risk. I'm talking about which means that we will have some benefit or cost, the same. Then let's take an example. We are talking about cost. You know that you need to have new server, for example, or you have a cloud server for your system. So you know that if it will be a physical server in the company, you need this machine, and this machine costs like this. So, however, but sometimes there are some costs that you can't estimate it as based on the amount of money. We say this is intangible and tangible cost. The same for benefit.
Okay.
So let's start with this. Thank you, Shane. I'm pronouncing your name in the correct way? Shane?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, perfect. So as we said, we have this case study, customer tracking system for a Pine Valley Furniture. It is we said it is a furniture company. So system service request, which means that we got a request based on the selection procedure that we have it, that we are going to see this visibility of this project. So we will have a tangible benefit that when I use the word tangible, that means it can be estimated in based on the, let's say, the value of money cost, which is what is the total amount that we can, like here, which means that cost reduction avoidance. How I can estimate cost reduction? Because maybe if I have this tracking system, I will have less employee, and this employee costs me, like, for example, 45,000. So in this case, I'll have less cost by 45,000 in this case. Sometimes error reduction, how I can know the error reduction based maybe in the different error codes that I have in the year before. So based on this, I can estimate how much money it will cost me. Increase flexibility, again, because sometimes I have some new product maybe or something, but because I'm not so flexible, I lose this product. So most of the time I can see this based on my old record about what is the benefit I expect from this based on my own records that I have in this company. So I will have a total, let's say, tangible benefit. Intangible benefit, which means that benefit that we can't estimate it now based on money. Okay, I see the benefit. I will have less one employee, so this employee cost me this. So this is based on the cost money-wise, I can know. But some intangible, which means benefit that cannot be easily measured. It doesn't mean that we can, but now it's not easily because we don't have a reference to go with it. Well, for example, here, when I said about cost reduction or avoidance, I said, okay, when I have this system, I'll have less one employee. So this employee costs me this, so I can have this benefit. However, sometimes, okay, but I can't estimate it because I don't have any reference based on this I can estimate. We name it intangible benefits. So intangible benefit like improved organization planning, improved asset utilization. For you know what assets, what I mean by assets. Assets can be machine, can be manpower, whatever. In order that sometimes you see that you are not using all the full power of your assets. Again, when you said assets, you know what I mean by assets. It can be the manpower, it can be the machine power, it can be the place, which means that you have some place that you are not using. This is one of the assets. Warehouse is an asset. So all these assets. This system can improve my asset utilization, but how I can estimate them based on money, this benefit, there is no special reference I can base on this. Sometimes I can. For example, I can say, I'm talking about warehouse utilization, this asset, so I can say this is I can based on this area, I can have, I can make more, put more product, and this means that expected benefit from this product. We can have some. But when we categorize this as intangible benefit, which means that we don't have a reference, based on this reference, we can estimate the expected benefit money-wise. Let's say, if I can use this English word, money-wise benefit for this. Now, after we talk about benefit, we can talk about costs now. So tangible, intangible costs. Tangible costs associated with an information system, like the same like benefit, based on money. How much it is cost me money? Like the example I discussed with Shane, we have I need a new hardware for the system, so I know the cost of this hardware. Maybe it will be a physical server, for example. I know I can go ahead and get different quotations for this. Or it will be cloud-based, so I can also get different quotations for this. So I can estimate the tangible cost. So tangible costs are costs that can be estimated money-wise, how much it will cost. The same like benefit. Intangible cost is costs that can be costs associated with this expected new information system that cannot be easily in terms of dollars or with the money amount, how it will cost. This is from, if you can see, this is if we can see the cost from intangible, intangible, like we see it from benefit, tangible, intangible benefit. However, also cost we can categorize it, we make as another categorization for this based on one-time cost and recurring cost. So that and that there will be total cost, which with the one-time plus recurring cost in this scenario. One-time cost, yeah, this is for example, I will create this information system, and there is a development cost, which means that maybe there is because it is a customized project for me. So the developer company will charge me this as a development cost. However, I will have with them a maintenance and support contract, So this contract maintenance and support, which means that later I have to pay a yearly phase to keep the maintenance and the support. This yearly phase, we name it as a recurring cost, which means this cost you have to pay it periodically in each year in this case. So we have to estimate the one-time cost and the recurring cost. Yeah, sure, we are talking about tangible costs here because we have to estimate them based on money-wise. So the addition of both of them will get the total cost of the ownership, which is the total cost of the one-time and recurring cost in this case. Yeah, here it is concerning if we are going to make not another project. It is web store, a web-based store, online store for this PV. So this is an example what tangible cost we can expect it like tangible cost, one-time cost, tangible one-time cost, tangible recurring cost. So tangible one-time cost would be like usability and design, programming. This is, which means that we as a developer company, we said the website will cost users, design will cost users, database integration will cost users. We pay this as one time only. And recurring costs like hosting fees, we will pay yearly based. You know what I mean by hosting fees. Site management or support, maintenance. So this is real case scenario for tangible cost, one time and recurring when we talk about. So the total cost will be the summation of this and this will be our total tangible cost for a web store for a furniture company in this case. Again, well, this is an example. Like we said, development cost like this, new hardware. As I already said, maybe we need a new server to put it in the company. Sometimes we need new purchase software, additional add-on software, user training. Training will be once and that's all. So you will have a total tangible one-time cost. We said we have already discussed different examples for this in the example before. So recurring cost here, it will be the application software, incremental data storage, because we sometimes for the first year we will have a hosting fees like this, and then you expect your data will come, the size of the data will be bigger by time, so by time you will pay more for the storage. So this is all recurring cost. We have to do it and make a roughly estimation for this. So the total cost in this case, as I had said here, will be the summation of both of this cost. So based on considering the cost, tangible and intangible, and the tangible, we are going to see the one-time and the recurring, we will have a total ownership cost. Now we know the benefit and cost. We didn't discuss here, but there will be different criteria after we make this cost and benefit, how we can make a balance. We have this cost, we have this benefit. And sometimes there's different criteria they work with when they make a visibility study concerning money values, they say it. They have to consider, which means that this money, because you know that there's always a depreciation for the assets that you are going to have it, plus there's inflation in the whole world. In each economy, there is an inflation rate. So this is they will go ahead and study based on the timetable, the money value, for example. There are different categories of cost and benefit to have a final balance to see is this feasible, yes or no. But however, based on different criteria, the input for all these criteria will be the cost and benefit. So you have a cost, you have a benefit. You use one of the financial criteria to see how you can make the balance. Then you said, okay, from economic point of view, it is feasible, yes, no in this case. Other feasibilities that we can have it, like operational feasibility, which means that if we make this project, can we have all the capabilities to operate it? Sometimes you based on the resources you will have it, or or the circumstances you have it, really you can or not. This is also, we name it operation visibility and should be studied. Schedule visibility, which means that can we execute all this based on the timetable that is expected or not? Because sometimes the organization itself, it has another deadlines. Even though it has a new information system, let's say development information system, you are developing the company using this, but you have also many deadlines based on your business that also you have to fulfill. So can you fulfill all the deadlines on this? This is a big question that we have to consider when we make a schedule visibility. And legal and contractual visibility, which means that are we going legally based on different rules we have it in this country, and based maybe sometimes we as an organization based on the organization type we have it, can we do this? So we have to consider this. Maybe sometimes you need to build a new building, sometimes a new warehouse or whatever it is, or you have a special technical need that legally you need some authorization for this. So we have to see, can we get this from the rules and the legal system where you are going to operate. Political visibility, we have already discussed it, that you have to consider the political situation where you are. So because about some countries will have some, it's based on the history of this country, it is politically unstable. So you have to consider if it is feasible to do it or not in this case. Dividing the project into tasks. Dividing the project into tasks. Dividing project into tasks based on, you are now feasible. We said that part of the planning, you have to go to the stakeholder and different stakeholder you have it so far, or maybe you are going to recruit somebody else. And then you are going to see each stakeholder group, what is the task they have to do it. And you have to make a breakdown for the tasks and the timetable for this. This is a typical project management. You can use any project management tool. And then you have to have this, what we name it, Gantt chart. It is a graphical representation from the start date to the end date. And each group, what is the timetable or the period and different deadline that we have it for this. This is what should be done also in the planning of the project. I think this is very familiar. Most of us know this, and this is some of the, let's say, naive aspects that we should have in all projects. So the final point that we are going to discuss here is about, okay, we studied the visibility, and we have now timetable or task breakdown for all of them. The next step will be about what is the final delivery, what is the final report that we do it. This will be for the whole planning phase, the final report. It will include everything. For example, it includes the visibility study, the timetable, the Gantt chart, and also include all administrative tasks that we talked about it, if you remember here. So it will have this task, visibility. It will have primary schedule, communication plan, the standard procedure is very important. I said, based on my experience, because me, in my case, and in parallel to my work as a university professor, I have to work as a business consultant. By the way, my research is based on data mining and data warehousing. So sometimes we have to work with as a consultant project with a company that we are asked to have a consultancy work, which means that to work with a developer team to see how we can build this analysis and design aspects. One of the many times, to be honest, and you will, when you are going to work, sometimes you will be shocked because they don't have a documentation for the standard and procedure. And sometimes if you go with them, you say, okay, I'm as a software developer, a professional, I know I need to know the standard and procedures that you will have it. And if you don't make a documentation for this, what happened lately, when you develop the system, they said, okay, that we don't work like this. We don't know the workflow like this. We said, okay, but this is what we have already agreed on this. We said no. Because they, as a company, they have some management, let's say, organization. They are not well organized. And in this way, this is why in the delivery of the baseline project planning, which means that this delivery should include the procedure and the standards that they will have it to know, okay, this is the procedure and standards that we have it for your company and also for the project development itself. So this is a document about the baseline, how it can be. It will have four main parts. Introduction talk about general overview about the system that we have already talked about in the project initiation when we talked about project objectives. Plus the visibility of this project. It will be part of the introduction that this project it is feasible because of this. And you make a general description, and then so all of this element will be in this four different parts. So first part will be about, as I said, project overview, system definition sanction. It's more technical part. And here, this is a visibility assessment and the other managerial issue section that have the source plan, schedule, communication, standard, and procedure. So what we have already discussed it is apart from the project baseline report. As you can see here, this is for the furniture companies that we are talking about. Here we said here in the visibility assessment, we talk about economical, technical, operation, legal, political, that we talked about it. Here, this is system description. It's more technical description about the system. And here, other management issues that we have discussed here can be included here. So the project scope, it's part of the project plan here, for the project plan and report. However, this is to be more internally for us who's going to develop this project. The project scope, it's let's say it is a simplified version that we are going to deliver to the customer, which means talk about the project statement, about what is the problem, the objectives, the description, the benefit, the project delivery, what expect delivery from us. Like for example, expect analysis and design because later when we make the analysis, we should have a delivery. And this is very important, the analysis. What is the format of the delivery? Today we can discuss an overview about it. For example, we are going to talk about object-oriented format. So about system programming, customer tracking documentation, training procedures, and the estimated project duration. So this is the scope. Will be a simplified version that will be delivered to the customer before we start the analysis process. I can now say that we have finished the planning phase. Again, the planning phase, it has two main parts: project selection and project initiation and planning. The project initiation planning has two phases. Initiation, we have already discussed today, and the project planning that include that have a project baseline planning report that include visibility study, different managerial aspects, and also the project schedule and timetable. Before we go to the object-oriented paradigm, do you have any question for me? I'm happy to hear your question if you have, and sure, I'm happy to discuss it with you. Because you should benefit from this live interaction between if you have something that is not so clear for you. If there is no question, that I need 3 thumbs up to continue. So I need 3 thumbs up to continue. Andrew one, so Sahib another one, and thank you. Okay, thank you all. Object-oriented paradigm. Object-oriented. Object-oriented, maybe most of us, when you hear object-oriented, to your mind will come object-oriented programming, like Java or C++. So this will be more about, which means this object-oriented paradigm about when you think about it, you think, okay, we are going to talk about classes, objects, that I'm quite sure you have seen this. However, object-oriented is a technique that can be used in analysis. It can be used in design. It can be used in programming. It is not only a programming technique. So it is a concept, it is more a technique that we can use it in different places, not only in programming. Brainy, long time we haven't seen you. So Brainy is asking, what is an object? Do you have an answer for Brainy, what is an object? Again, don't be shy, go ahead and make whatever you can in your mind. It'll be okay. So I'm quite sure you know about object analysis programming. I said it is a concept, so, and you have seen it. When I said what is an object and object-oriented, what comes to your mind? Do you have any volunteer? Or I have to choose, like always? Yeah, Xenia, and I'm not saying your name in the correct way.
Good morning.
Yeah. Hi. We hear you.
Yeah, I want to try for the object. Can I regard it as the target? It means when we can, what we do, it is to achieve the object, achieve the targets.
I'm not talking about how we use it. What is the concept? If you want to define an object in a very simple word, what you are going to define? Xenian. Yeah, Xenian. I'm saying it's correctly Xenian? Your name?
Zhenyan.
Genian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it is hard to pronounce, right?
Yeah, so do you have a simple definition what is an object?
My simple definition about the object, that is, I can regard it as the target.
I see. Yeah, it can, but we have to clarify it more. And maybe Chain also, Chain, he has something to add it. Chain, can you go ahead? Thank you, Chinian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would define an object as an entity with an entity that has attributes and relationships and behaviors.
Okay. So an entity that had a relationship and behavior. So good. This word entity, I like it. So it has a behavior and it has an attribute. This is from a programming point of view, yeah?
Yeah, most likely, yeah. That's where I get my...
But this its object, it is a standing alone, or maybe it comes from another concept?
I don't understand the question.
Yeah, because I can't rephrase it. If I rephrase it, I will give the answer. So I said that this object, it comes from another concept, or it is a standing alone entity, as you said now.
Oh, I see. It comes from something else. It's okay. Like it's an idea, I guess.
Perfect. Chain, thank you. We have Mission and Parnid maybe. Let's start with Parnid maybe. She raised her hand before. Parnid, go ahead. Then Mission, you can add what you want. Parnid?
Yes, so yeah, I was saying that object can be an instance of a class based on programming, yeah.
Yeah, but this is, by the way, it is not a programming, it is a concept of object-oriented technique in general. So, good. Then another question now, what is a class?
What is a class?
Yeah, so you said an object, it is an instance of a class. I agree with you. I agree the word. I was expecting to hear the word instance of So an object is an
we
instance
discussed
or a
this
class.
in last lecture. That's why I remember it.
Yeah. So what is an object? What is a class? This is why I'm returning it. So what is a class?
I think class is a, I don't know about class.
No worry about it. Thank you that you memorize what we said about concerning instance of. I will hear. Thank you, Parnit. I will hear Mission.
Hello.
Yeah, hello, Mission.
Yeah.
I'm saying your name correctly, yeah? Because my French accent, sometimes I have to do it in a French accent way. So just one. Yeah, because in my case, I am a multi-language person. I finished my master in Germany, so I speak German. I finished my PhD in France, so I speak French. And sometimes my accent will be mix of different languages at the same time. So go ahead, Myson. Yeah, Myson, you said.
Method.
Yeah. Myson, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so object, like Parneet said, is an instance of a class. And a class can be defined as a blueprint for creating objects.
Blueprint. Oh, perfect. So blueprint, I'm with it. So what do you mean blueprint? So is there more further definition for this blueprint?
Well, it's like a user-defined type that the user creates to create objects. I think that's the one. I'm not sure.
Okay. Let me tell you. Yes, thank you. Yeah, you give us blueprint. I agree. Parneet give us more about talk about instance of a class, and Chain said that there is a set of activities and behavior and also attributes. So I will rephrase all of this. This is what you all of you have already said. This is correct, but I will rephrase it in more formal way, in a better way. Like I said, this is also the example we said it before and we repeat it. Like human being, and human being is a class. So if I define a human being, it is a blueprint or a concept, something. I don't know if it is correct to say something. It is, let's say it is a concept, but it has functions or activities or behavior. For example, we as a human being, we eat, walk, laugh, drink, run. So all this is behavior. All human being has to do it. However, each object can do it in a different way. And also this class or this concept has a behavior and has an attributes or properties or parameters. So all these abbreviations are the same. Like I have a length, I have a width, I have a height. So I should have 3 dimensions. No human being can have only 2 dimensions. It should have a 3 dimension. It is not a ghost. It is a human being. So have 3 dimensions. However, sometimes some people will have this weight, some other will have less weight. Like I said with Parneet last time. So what concerning overweight and not. So human being is a concept, one abstract that has different behaviors, like walk, talk, drink, and has different parameters. Me, I'm an instance from a human being. Nison is an instance from a human being. Parneet is an instance from a human being. Shane is an instance from a human being. Firas is an instance from a human being. And each instance has its own values for the parameters. It doesn't have a new parameter. It has a new value for the parameter, because if it has a new parameters, then we are going to make a subclass and then we create an object from this subclass. This is why we have this inheritance. So if it will be from this class, it will have all parameters, however, it will have a different values. It has all of functionality, but it do it in a different way. Because sometimes some people will be for a physical issue, they can't walk. They are still a human being, but they can't do this behavior. Some people, they do it in a better way. Some people do it in a slowly way. So all they have this, but they have to do it in different way. Or they can't do it, but they should have this behavior. So a class, it is an abstract or a concept that have a set of behavior and set of attributes or parameters. An object, it is an instance from this class, and this instance will have a different values for the parameters, and it has different behavior for the same functionality. So, okay, what this will benefit from this? This object-oriented technique, it is a technique. Again, it is not a programming technique just, it is a technique. So we can use it in analysis, we can use it in design, we can use it also in programming. For example, in analysis, when we go to the business modeling and business requirement, we are going to see the requirement as a set of concepts and what is the behavior of these concepts. Maybe in design we discuss the behavior, but we define the concepts in the analysis. And when we start with the programming, based on the definition of the real concepts that we will have it, we are going to make implementation and go ahead more the technical aspect for the predefined aspects we have, concepts we have it. So defining the concept, it is the classes in this case, or we name it in the analysis part domain name. So an object-oriented technique is based on the class object, which is a class set of behavior and technique. So we have normally we have two techniques, structured one or object-oriented. Object-oriented we have discussed. Structured one, which means that we will not see what different concept we have. We go ahead and see what different functions we have. However, in the object-oriented technique, we have to search for first to the concepts, and then we make mapping between the concept and the functionality and the parameters. It's very important you understand this technique because you will see it in your whole life. And I know that many students sometimes they have go ahead and okay, object-oriented for them that create a class and do an object on programming. It is not like this. It is more an abstract technique that you should understand it. Do you still have any question? I'm happy to hear your question and happy to answer. Again, it's very important you understand this technique. Okay, perfect. So as I've already said, that object-oriented, we can see it as analysis that we will use it. So we will make analysis using object-oriented in this course. We will see it in design. And so it is the analysis and design will be based on an object-oriented and design. And we will see it in the programming. So if we go ahead to the object analysis, for example, if I'm making a library information system, a library, we will have different concepts. Book, it is a concept. Human, the employee, it is a concept. So different concepts, we have to define it. And then this is happen in the analysis. We defined what different domain concept we will have it. In the design, we will define what is the parameters and attribute we will have for this domain. And plus, also we will define different behaviors for this. When we go to the implementation, we go to the implementation based on the predefined design we will have it. So from object-oriented analysis and design, we can see this information system like catalog, librarian, book, library. In the structured analysis and design, we will see it as a system, what different functions this system do. This is two different, let's use this word, two different methodology. So two different methodology we will have it. Either we go to object-oriented technique or structured technique. And again, it is not only a programming methodology. It's more about technique that can be used in analysis and design also. And we will try our best that we will use this technique in the analysis and design when we start with the analysis and design, starting next week. So when we talk about the difference between analysis and design, in analysis we go more about requirement and business modeling. In design we will go more with how the logical solution understand the description of the solution. So here we're going to have what concepts we have. And then design, we will talk, okay, this concept, what behavior and parameter we will have here. So sometimes when we talk about object-oriented analysis and design, we should have a documentation for this. One of them, it is Unified Modeling Language, UML. We will see it also in this course. So UML here, it's more about UML. You will have, for example, use case model, domain model, which means that when you make analysis, use case. When we talked about here baseline plan, we said about business cases or use cases. For example, we are going to talk about a web store. So what case is that? Okay, first case, we will have a customer will go ahead and buy a product. This is a case. So this buy a product, we have to define it. What the different standard or procedure will happen for this product, for the buying, that he should go to the website and select products and select a quantity, then we go. This is the different procedure that we have to do. We have to describe it in the business case. This happens analysis. And also, when we make a requirement analysis, we are going based on this requirement to go to the domain model, and then we see what different domain we will have. We will have a domain model. Also, this is based in UML diagram, for example. And then we will have, this is use cases and domain model. We make a realization, which means, okay, I know that for each actor I have it, what is the function that he has, and then I can see the sequence diagram, which means this function, how they interact with each other based on the timetable or time frame. And at the end, we will have a class diagram. This will be at the end of the design. This is what we make, because based on this class diagram, I can go to make implementation. I can have a class diagram for the, also I can have ER diagram for the database, entity relational diagram. We will see it. So we will have a class diagram, which means different classes for my own, for the client side, for the whole program, and I will have an ER diagram about the database. So based on the refinement I do it for different domain, I can have a class diagram, I can have an ER